Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk you through over 2 hours worth of content that we have filmed in person to speed up muscle growth, and it's going to be surprised in ways that you probably have not heard of before, and I'm going to give all of that away for you right now. And I know you've probably already seen this is a shorter video, and it's because I want to make sure that you've got the full access to everything that we broke down with our seminar that we done with our academy in person. So this is going to be the most effective way to set up your own phase to train for muscle growth. You will learn absolutely everything we do behind the scenes with our clients, and we've packaged it into just 2 hours. It's a lot of content, a lot of detail. You definitely won't get bored by it, but you will have all of the answers in this seminar with what we've done. It was both practical and theory, so it's going to be exciting, but this video is just to summarize all of what's involved. So you will at least leave this video with a lot of knowledge and tools and an idea of what is involved if you did want to learn a little bit further and have everything you need to actually create insane transformations like the ones I'm about to show you. So this is, like I said, an exciting, executing an improvement phase. It's a seminar and workshop that we've already delivered, and we had great feedback from with our clients as well. So I'm just going to walk you through this now. So who is this actually for, right? This is for people that are wanting to maximize their muscle growth. And the key there is maximizing. It's not just about getting by, getting a little bit of gains, making some progress. It's about those that want to know everything there is to getting the most out of their physique development journey without having to rely on other sources, or perhaps just making up for poor nutrition, training, recovery by just utilizing anabolics, which is what a lot of people do these days. And yes, they get results, but ultimately at the sacrifice of their health. It's about limiting body fat as well. We're not about dirty bulking, we're about understanding the concept behind why people may be interested in doing that, but how can you actually maximize muscle gain and limit fat gain? And of course, improving strength. If you followed me for a long time, I'm a big believer in strength, and obviously that ties in perfectly with progressive overload and that type of approach, but I will dive into that in a bit more detail right now. So the other things to consider is the body composition starting point, right? It's probably the most important thing. And whenever we have someone join our academy, when I would be coaching someone, I would be looking at their body composition to begin with. And I would always ask the question, what is the most important thing to you right now? Is it in the short term getting as much muscle growth as possible, or if you could only pick one, would it be dropping body fat? And for most people, when they think about really short term, it's like, oh no, I probably do need to lose a little bit of body fat, and that is going to be perfect if you're going to look at the long term growth. If you want to end up with 18-inch arms, and you can do that naturally, right? If you want to do that, then you need to really think, where am I at now? If I'm a good few inches away from that, then probably if I've got some body fat to lose, I would benefit from getting leaner first before I start the gaining phase. That's going to allow you to spend more time in a gaining phase, and the more time you get in a gaining phase, the more growth is going to occur. The nutritional targets is probably the most important thing as well. Most people, you guessed it, undereat on protein, and they don't consistently hit their protein target despite knowing what they need to hit. The training setup is not there to maximize volume. It's not there to maximize frequency with their recovery capabilities. That's something we're going to talk about when we dive into training splits. But more important than anything else is the ideal rate of gain. This is something that so many people miss. They don't even factor it in. They don't even look at how much they should actually be gaining on a weekly basis. So that is something that we're going to dive deep into here, and I'm going to actually leave you this video with the ideal rates of gains and losses depending on the phase that you're in, so you'll know the percentage to aim for, because it's percentage based off your body weight, so you can work that out straight away today. So just diving over the theory then, this is what we done between 10:30 to 12. It was a full day event, and we've summarized this into just 2 hours of content for you. But what is an improvement phase? The improvement phase overview, setting up the ideal improvement phase, mini cut phases explained, and when they actually should be utilized. And the terminology is important here because so many people get this wrong. Priming phases, how they're important, I kind of just touched on that then, and training terminology as well, so you know what you're talking about. So you're going to sound like an expert after consuming this content. The practical workshop was really, really interesting, and I have to make sure that I'm careful here with the types of content that I actually talk about. So the drivers of hypertrophy is something we focused on a lot. We talked about this in depth. with the drivers that some people tend to think is what's going to cause growth is not actually the key thing. Loads of people think that there's kind of like two camps really. There's those that believe in progressive overload. There's also those that then tend to believe that they just believe in high volume approach and almost lower intensity, even though they think they're doing high intensity and high volume. And this is why we strip it back to what has science actually told us is what's driving us forward. And it's the three things when we talk about mechanical tension, muscle damage. There's neural adaptations in it as well, but it's not one of the biggest driver. But we've also got metabolic stress. So that is something that we will dive deep into as well and explain that about. Tempo manipulation and demonstrations of that. So this is the full practical. You'll get this as well. Active and passive range, strength profiles, resistance profile, and we will have to credit RTS on that as well. And the reverse band as well, why it can be beneficial, because this was a trend a couple of years ago. I actually don't see it being used too much more anymore, but I'm sure it'll come back. It's just like fashion. You'll see it trending on Instagram, and then all of a sudden everyone will be doing it. So that is something that a lot of people used to do, but they don't do so much anymore. So when it comes down to reverse banding, it can be very, very beneficial to manipulate the resistance profile compared to the strength profile. And that is something that, again, we will fully explain and demonstrate for you. Then diving back into the theory, so we split it up. We done theory first, we give people a break, we dived into the practical, then we went back and we moved on to the theory. So the coaching style, this is when it's applicable to the person. So this is going to allow you to understand what you need to do for yourself. So our coaching style is more micromanagement. We tend to make smaller, more changes more often. So every single check-in on a weekly basis, there'll normally be some sort of change that'll need to be made to continue that progression at the ideal rate of progress that we're looking for. Again, going back to the ideal rate of progression, when to make nutritional changes. So we will talk about the key things that we look for as a coach. What are we looking for? And this is key in terms of educating coaches as well, because this is what we do with PB. We've got a team of coaches and we make sure we educate them to be able to perform at their best for their clients to get the best results. So when to make training changes, we'll talk about that. The supplements that can boost performance and not the anabolics as well. Don't get too excited. We're not going to dive into that. The cardio and is it needed, because that's a big debate as well. Like, should you just cut out cardio when you're looking to gain, or is there reasons to do it? And personally, I like including cardio, especially in a different format compared to what most people think, because you can handle more from a recovery standpoint. So it may be beneficial if you're using it not as a tool to drive up expenditure, but you're using it as a tool to actually improve your overall health and your overall fitness levels, which is going to help when it comes to back off sets, which is something we'll talk about. But that is very important as well. So you're already seeing, like, there's a lot of PowerPoints here. Is this going to be death by PowerPoint? It's not at all. We like to make it as fun and interactive as possible, and that's what we did with our seminar. So there's no notes needed either, because you can just fully focus on what you're listening to, what you're seeing visually, and you'll get full access anyway to review this anytime you want to. So don't worry, we learned our lesson, because before we used to do pretty much death by PowerPoint. Now, the ideal rate of gain. So what I promised I was going to give you today is this is something you can take away if you're a coach and you want to apply it to your own clients. It's going to allow you to increase the standard across the UK, which is our main focus of coaching, so that people can get better results all around. Because why is there still an epidemic of people not being in shape? It's because there's still not that level of transparency between fitness coaches, PTs, and then their clients. We want to educate as much as possible, because when people understand the why behind why they're doing something, they're far more likely to do it long term. So the rates of progression, right? If you're in an extreme fat loss phase, which is not sustainable, right? And when I say not sustainable, the habits you're probably going to have to do or learn to achieve extreme fat loss phase is going to be something you wouldn't want to keep up. It wouldn't be a lifestyle. So you can look at 2% drop in body weight per week on that one. The fat loss phase is the most sustainable, but still anything over like 12, 16 weeks, you then start to categorize yourself almost as a bodybuilder, because the habits are still not sustainable long term, but they are sustainable for a fat loss phase. So that's about 1% body weight drop per week. Of course, we wouldn't want to do that forever, like I said. The slight deficit is probably the most sustainable, where you probably don't even realize you're in a deficit at this point, but your body weight is going to be trickling down nicely. 0.5% drop per week. Then you got a holding phase, which it is what it is. You're basically just holding your body weight at that stage. So it's when expenditure actually meets input. So should be pretty much bang on. The slight surplus is for those that are really conscious about gaining body fat. They don't want to gain body fat, but they want to gain muscle. This is only for those that actually tend to put on muscle fairly easily. So you only need to supplement with a little bit of extra calories, and you've got more than enough to actually create that ideal environment to grow, and you can do it long term without having to go and cut back anytime soon. Then is the gain in performance phase. This is still fairly conservative in terms of the size of the surplus, but a 0.025% gain per week is gonna be pretty much ideal for most people if you really want to limit fat gain in that phase. So I'll leave that with you for now, and going forward, like, I wanted to just give a bit of an explanation on myself as well, because you've probably been listening to me and maybe this is the first time you've seen this video, and who am I to even talk to you about this? Well, we've built a team of coaches, like I said, at PB Academy. Over the last 10 years, we've been coaching now over 1,500 people ourselves. That's not to count the coaches we've had that have then gone and coached other clients as well. We've gained results with the simple methods as well of calorie tracking as the foundation, but we dive very deep and cover all of the sort of advanced details as well. As you can probably tell by the way we're talking, there's a lot more to this, but we like to keep it simple for people that are on the top level that just want to be maybe just get into this and get results, you know, so it's not overwhelming with them. My personal experience, you know, I went through the whole stages of, first of all, being interested because of sport, and I wanted to maximize performance, and then I wanted to build confidence, so I wanted to manipulate my body composition. That's when I learned about nutrition. And as you can see, this YouTube video is 7 years old, and back then I even believed like my transformation plans were the best, and I can look back now and I can comfortably say there's a hell of a lot more I needed to learn at this point, but I was still getting results with people. It was still enough to get results with people, but right now we really do understand the why behind why we do what we do. But yeah, that's our gym as well. Locally to Swansea, we've built a great community. This is one I've left up just for you to understand. Any of you that have chased condition like this before, and this was back in my amateur bodybuilding days, I don't know, maybe comment below and let me know if you know what body part that is, but that is when the skin is starting to split because the skin is that tight with a pump, and it's pretty crazy. It's a good feeling, but it's not a good feeling the rest of the time. I'll just leave it at that. But that's my own little transformation as well. Me probably messing around then when I was younger, and probably up there with one of my favorite looks that I've had to date. So it's pretty cool to achieve that as well. But just a bit of the past on me, a bit of background on me as well, and what I've achieved personally, so I understand this inside out. But the people we've worked with, just to show, because there's two sides to this. There'll be people clicking on this video and they'll be like, I can't gain muscle. I struggle to gain muscle. My metabolism is too high. It's impossible to get big. I've always been a smaller frame. But this is a prime example of someone that came in with that exact sort of mindset and disbelief after trying themselves for years in the gym and working extremely hard. But sometimes it is a case of just not having the right tools, not having the right knowledge. And Reese earned this result himself. He done absolutely insane. It took time. This transformation was about a year, but would you be opposed to being in the best shape of your life in a year from now if you knew that what you were doing was going to get you the result? I think most people are looking for a short-term fix because they always want to know, is what I'm doing actually going to be getting the results? And you will get quick wins. You will see results within 12 weeks, but to get the physique you want is probably going to take longer than you think. So you need to just prepare yourself for that. But this is insane. So credit to Reese there. Another one is on the other side of the spectrum. So someone that was more of an easy gainer, I would say, both when it comes to body fat and also muscle gain. But again, the concerns here are totally different, and I would probably fit in this category more myself. So I was able to grow very easily, but losing body fat was something that was very, very difficult for me. So I wanted to know, can I still actually grow whilst cutting? And in a small circumstance, like a small amount of people actually can, and I'll explain why in a different video. But that is something to be aware of. It's not a myth. You can actually grow whilst cutting if you've got all the things in the right place, and potentially for the first time. Can you lose muscle in the cut? Like, loads of people ask this question, and yes, of course you can. If you get things wrong and you set yourself up in a bad way for a cut, you will lose muscle, you will lose your hard work. So you need to make sure that things are in place and they're there in the correct way. And gaining strength as a cut as well. So many people, especially when you're natural, you just assume, right, my lifts are all going to go down now. But I promise you, if you go in with that mindset, you will definitely achieve that, and you will lose muscle in the cut, you will lose strength in the cut. You can actually maintain and potentially grow some lifts as well in a cut if you get things right, and you really are meticulous with everything and the way the layout of the plan is. And John earned this result himself, and he proved that to a T. It's absolutely insane. So a few myths versus fact as well. I just wanted to go over this again. You can gain muscle in a cut. You don't need to eat chicken and rice every single meal. A lot of people have this misconception that it's going to be a boring bodybuilding diet. Our whole slogan with PB Academy is to get insane physique transformations without the strict diet, without sacrificing your meals out, without having to say no to a drink if you do want to, if you are that type of person. Me personally, I don't really like drinking that much. I don't at all. I haven't in the last 3 months. Maybe I'll have 1 or 2 now and again, but it's something that just affects my work, and it's not worth the risk for me in terms of how it makes me feel more than anything else. But it does have a direct impact on muscle protein synthesis, which is a key player when it comes down to building muscle. So if your goal is really to gain incredible results like this, you can see here from Reese as well, it's definitely not something I would involve. But you can gain muscle without gaining body fat. That is the fact. You can, if you set yourself up in the right way. So a few other things as well I just want to touch on. I mentioned the drivers of hypertrophy. These are the things that we rank in levels of importance. Mechanical tension is number 1. It's been proven by science, right? And the way you do that is by training as close as possible to failure. That is what is going to stimulate that for you. And people have this misconception as well that they should leave reps in reserve, and you are slowing down your progress. All you need to do is just maximize your recovery to be able to handle the level of training intensity that you're doing. It's also a skill. Most people can't train to failure. So if you think you can, then do it 100% and just make sure you can recover from it. Muscle damage, utilizing top heavy sets during each session, but controlling them and tracking them and progressively overloading them. And then metabolic stress, utilizing intensifiers, finishers, back off sets, but strategically, not just throwing them in there and not tracking them. They still need to be tracked. We also talk about hormonal response and neural adaptations as well. But there's a whole lot more content. As you can see, I've jam-packed a lot into this video right now. But I wanted to make sure that you've got a good idea of what's going to be involved in this. And what I've done, I've packaged quite a lot of it into in-depth a mini email course so that you can get that straight away. The link will be down below on this video, so if you want to just get that now straight away, it's completely free, and I'll be able to send over just a few emails. I'm not going to bombard your email address. I just want to make sure that we are laying these things out so you have the tools step by step to be able to implement and set up your own gaining phase, your improvement phase on your own. So just ask yourself, what is the long-term goal, and where are you now compared to that? If you are a long way off, there's probably a lot more you need to learn, and you need to be honest with yourself. So yeah, take advantage of what we've done with our academy, everything we gave away there, and we'll give you that on a few emails. So yeah, any questions you can reply back, or you can comment below, and I'm always interacting on YouTube, so make sure you comment below, and I'll get involved. And the YouTube comments tend to be quite funny as well, so I do tend to enjoy that because people tend to, I don't know, they just don't hold back on YouTube. I don't think anyone cares. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite pictures as well. Yeah, absolutely insane day that was. And that's the environment we want, is everyone that's there, beginner, intermediate, or advanced, pushing people forward and supporting each other. And that's what it's about for us. So anyway, if you did want to jump on a call, we do offer game plan calls as well, and you can speak to me directly, and we can just talk through your own phase plan. That's what we do on the first call, is just set up the phase planner anyway. And even if you decide it's not right for you, you don't have to go ahead with it. You don't have to work with us. We do guarantee results within the first 12 weeks, so you get your money back. But if you don't think that's right for you, then don't bother, and just take advantage of the email course that we've got, and you can just try and implement this yourself. And no doubt you'll be successful, because we are literally giving away all the tools. So yeah, any questions, let me know, and hopefully I'll see you soon. We've got a lot going on YouTube at the moment, so I hope you're enjoying it so far. Thank you.